Corporate events are a ton of work, but they are 100% worth it because you are thinking about one of two audiences as a business. You're either thinking about your employees or you are thinking about your customers. Both of those are 100% worth investing time and money and effort and energy into if you are planning a corporate event, which I'm going to teach you how to do. Now, a corporate event, you should be thinking through two different lenses, which I'm going to teach you. Number one, when you start to plan a corporate event, is you should be thinking through what I call the event builder framework. So imagine that you're standing in front of a very still pond and you have a rock in front of you. What do you want to do? You want to take that rock and you throw it as far as you can and land it in the middle of the pond so that it makes a splash. Well, that is what your event is like. Your audience, so either your customers or your employees, their life is like that still pond, and you want your event to make a splash. You want it to make a difference. You want ripple effects to be there so that either your employees are more productive, your customers spend more money with you, or something along those lines happens with a corporate event. And then when you are thinking through planning a corporate event, I'm going to walk you through not only that event builder framework, but also the 6 P's of event planning. Now, if you saw my previous video, I had the 5 P's of event building. When I was planning for this video, I added one because especially if you are planning an event with an audience and you are bringing in that audience, you need the last one, which is promotion. Now, if you're new to this YouTube channel, my name is Sean. I am the founder of Event Builder, and I have spent 5 years of my career helping schools host events. And then I spent 6.5 years at an event agency helping companies like Chick-fil-A, Citizens Bank, the Atlanta Falcons, the Home Depot, Kroger, and more plan and produce events. And so this is coming from 11 years of experience. Plus, I used to do this when I was growing up, hosting events at my own home. And so this process that I'm putting here for you with the Event Builder framework and the 6 P's of event planning, these are all coming from my 11 years of experience at planning and hosting and producing events for schools, for nonprofits, and yes, for companies. I've spent thousands of hours working upon different projects from all different size companies, public companies, private companies, big budgets, small budgets, and all of them can fit within this framework that I've shown you for how to plan a corporate event. So the Event Builder framework, you have 6 stages. You're going to determine the why, which coordinates with the first P in event planning, which is the purpose. Then the next phases are you're preparing for your event. So you're creating the outline, which is you're creating the plan. You are refining the plan, which means you are taking that outline, taking that plan, and you're getting it down to the second and every minute detail. And then during this phase, you're also thinking about who are the people you need, what place is it going to be in, where is what are the provisions, what are the items that you need, and then you need to be promoting your event. All of that is taking place throughout this arc, which is leading up to your actual event day where you're executing it. So you're creating the outline, you're refining the plan, you're preparing for success, you're using all 6 P's throughout the entire event planning process. And then you are using all of those to produce with excellence. And then after your corporate event, you are going to reflect and review, and here's what this looks like putting it into play. So if we're going to determine the why, if we're going to determine the purpose of our event, we need to answer these questions. Well, one, why are we hosting it? Why will they attend? And I would even add in an extra one, who is going to be attending? Is it our customers? Is it, if you're a nonprofit, are they your donors? Are they your employees, or are they maybe a contractor, a vendor, someone who's outside of your business, but they are a stakeholder within the business? Not only that, you need to also answer what type of event are you going to plan? Is it a dinner? Is it a 5K for your employees? And so that is the very first step of your process, is determining why are you hosting it. And even the why is really tied to the who of who is it for. So who is it for and why are you hosting it? I actually went to the artificial intelligence tool called ChatGPT by OpenAI, and I asked it several times. I kind of stopped at 80, but I asked it for a list of corporate events. So if you're looking for a list, I'll put a link to it in the description of this video. Here are 80 different types of corporate events that you could be hosting And I'm sure that there are more out there that ChatGPT didn't help me put together, but they're just there for you as a resource. If you're looking for ideas and inspiration, it is there. So now for your actual plan, like the what is happening when people show up type of plan, that's the plan that I mean. The agenda, the run of show, then that is going to depend upon your event. So 5K looks very different from a 2-day conference for your employees, right? And so that plan, again, it's either called the agenda, the schedule, or the run of show. It's going to depend upon what type of event, what is the purpose behind the event, who is attending the event, all of those types of things, as well as the budget itself. But here is how I like to plan every single event is I like to start with an end time. I like to determine what the overall length should be, and then that's going to give me a rough estimate for my end time. And then I like to plan things in 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, and 60-minute chunks of time, these blocks of time, in order to have a rough outline for my actual event. And then once I have the rough outline of my event, that's going to help me determine where it needs to be, so the place, who needs to be involved, so the people, the provision, so what items I need to bring in, and then that's also going to help me influence what I'm promoting to my individual stakeholders, to my attendees, what's going to be happening. So here's an example that I put together for you. For a corporate event, imagine you're hosting a 1-hour lunch and learn. Well, once people arrive, they're seated in their seats, you have maybe a 12 p.m. start time. I would say you need to have 5 minutes with light music playing. They can get lunch and then they need to get seated. And then another 5 minutes, so that would be from 12 to 12:05. And then from 12:05 to 12:10, for another 5 minutes, we would say, welcome, we're so glad that you're here. Here's why we're hosting this today, and let me introduce to you the speaker. And then the speaker would present for 40 minutes. And how they are presenting, all of that depends upon the place and the technology and your budget and things like that. But they're presenting and then they're talking. And so as you can see, now here I can add in 30, 40, but you get the gist for the blocks and chunks of time where for your corporate event, think through it in these chunks, and then you can get really specific. So if I were actually showing a video at this lunch and learn, I would take this agenda plan, I would put it into an Excel type format, a spreadsheet format, and I would have either using a tool or a spreadsheet itself, but I would have the actual length of the video. So if it's a 2-minute and 5-second video, I would have a start time of maybe 12:05 p.m. and the video would run from 12:05 to 12:07 and 5 seconds after, so that you're very specific for your run of show and your agenda. Now, again, for you're building out your plan, you're in the second stage right here, you're creating your outline. That is your outline, that is your plan for your event. And then now that you have that in place, now that you can refine your plan, which is you are just like if you go to a refinery for gasoline takes crude oil and it turns it, which cannot be used by vehicles, and it refines it, it processes it, it gets it down to a specific product that can then be used. So an outline is great, but the outline needs to be refined, it needs to be processed, it needs to be more specifically for an audience, and that's what we're doing in this process. So you're refining the plan, you're honing it in, and you're thinking about the people that need to be involved, you're thinking about the place where it needs to be, what are the provisions, the items that you need to have there, and then finally how to promote it. And then as you get closer to the actual event day, which is when your rock is making a splash, that's when you're preparing for success. So you're starting to gather all the items together. And then finally on the event day itself, that's when you're producing with excellence. And then afterwards you're reflecting and reviewing. So if I were to take this agenda and then I were to think through, okay, well, who are my staff? I know that I need to have my head of marketing there because this is a marketing lunch and learn. They need to be the person that introduces the speaker. They need to be the person that is going to be giving the welcome and why we're here. And then the attendees, that's going to be my employees. Now, these are employees from all different sectors of the business, not just marketing employees. It's about marketing at the lunch and learn for marketing, but these are all employees from all different walks of life. I've got 100 employees, so I know that I need to bring in my vendors, I need to have catering, I need to have decorators, I need to have my AV team to make sure that the video can be shown so that the microphone is hooked up so that all 100 people can see it. So you get where I'm going with these different things. It depends upon the size of the audience, what's happening, where is it happening, the length of time, and things like that. Listing out the people, these are a list of people that should be involved in your event. You can add to it, you can subtract from it, but you at least need to think through who are the staff and the volunteers, who are your attendees, who are your vendors that need to be involved, and then who are the speakers for your event or the entertainment or whatever that means for you. After that, you're thinking about the place. Well, do you own the space? Is it your conference room? Is it a training room? Is it a big event space that you own? Or are you renting it from someone? Or are you simply reserving it? Maybe you're trading it, or maybe it's a public park and you're simply reserving it. You don't actually have to physically rent it. Then the provisions. The provisions are going to be the items that you need to have on site. Now, for these items on the provisions, the things that you need to have like tables and chairs and decoration and your signage and your snacks and drinks, all these types of things, I like to put them into two separate lists. I like to have a needs to pack list and a needs to purchase list. And then you could have an optional third one. I like to keep the needs to purchase under, like if I'm gonna rent something, I'm gonna have that under the needs to purchase because technically I'm paying for it. You could have a third one, which is like a needs to rent one, but I like to at least have those two separate lists because some of the things I'm gonna have lying around my house, some of the things I'm gonna have lying around the office, some of the things we're gonna have in storage, that would be the things that you own. So the needs to pack list are things that you need to pack from various places. And then a needs to purchase list those are things that you need to go out and get. You can either go to Walmart and buy them or Target and buy them, or maybe they're specialty items. You got to go online and buy them, whatever that means for you. But those are the two separate provisions lists, are needs to pack and needs to purchase. And then finally, that brings you to promotions. Now, promotions, again, is going to depend upon your type of event, what's happening, and who is it happening for. If it is for your employees, you're talking about an internal communications plan. So you're bringing in either HR or your internal comms team or your marketing team, whoever that looks like, and you're putting it in the employee newsletter or on the company Facebook page or whatever that means. And then if it is for an external event for your vendors or for your sponsors or for your donors, if you're a nonprofit, or if you are doing this for your customers, then you need to have a marketing plan, either an organic marketing plan or a paid marketing plan or both, in which case you need to have systematically structured so that you're getting the best word of mouth out. I mean, this is including all types of things like influencer marketing, and organic social media, paid social media, which would be advertisements on Facebook and Instagram and things like that. So there's all different routes that you can go under, but these buckets, these 6 P's of your event plan, which is your plan, your people, your place, your provisions, your promotions, and all of it is tied to the purpose. You can use those throughout the event builder framework, which is telling you where you are in the process. And then throughout the process, you're working on those 6 P's, and that is how you're going to plan your corporate event to make it super, super successful. If the event builder framework is helpful for you, then you want to check out this video where I go deep into it. And if your corporate event coming up is a 5K, you want to check out this video where I teach you how to plan a 5K.